that you're exalting, that you're saying that Christ is a black man, even the ones that y'all drawn. Y'all know these people who drew these paintings, these up-to-date ones of 2025, 24, all the way to 2000, all the way back to 89, all the way back to 1969, right? Y'all know who drew those and promoted those along the way and indoctrinated people, right? Let alone the Russian iconoclasms promoting it. Because you see Hebrew, right, Christ, you automatically think that this is of the Lord. But that this shows you your carnality. You automatically think that that's of the Lord, and it's not. But in your mind, you think that the Lord of hosts gave us permission to do this, to draw his face and his son's face. And you got people out here trying to be slick. We're talking about the son's face and the father's face. That's been promoted for centuries. That's been promoted since Paul. They were promoting the multiple faces of the Son, multiple faces of the Father back then. That's why Paul was speaking about anybody preaching another Jesus. They had to have had those paintings back then promoting them. Paul had to have seen a lot of Jesuses. Like, what is going on? All these Jesuses. Those sculptures, paintings that y'all have, man, Paul was against those. It had to be. Christ was against those Hebrew graven images. The spirit of Hamashiach was against those Hebrew graven images. Those disciples were against those graven images. The real disciples, the real Hamashiach was against those Hebrew graven images. Y'all exalt those graven images as if that's a part of the doctrine, as if Christ gave them permission to promote in that manner. That's why you're on the internet now promoting a false Hamashiach through a goddamn promo picture. Y'all want to keep Hamashiach on a goddamn picture. Y'all want to keep him on a painting. So he won't be able to reprove your ass. So he won't be able to jump out the picture and start judging your motherfucking ass. That's why y'all want Hamashiach, the graven image, to stay on the pictures, to stay in the paintings. Because you know that image is right there and ain't going to do nothing.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rucha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to your other brethren, you fellow believers of this truth. That includes you few sisters, and shalom to the elect. Now, I wasn't going to do a video like this on the graven images, but this is a movement, and we was out at camp, and we had the image of what we see to be Yahushua, not Yahweh, but Yahushua, and the black only Israelites came up in rage. Right? They was enraged. Nobody was enraged with white Jesus, right? That was all good. The practice and idol worship of another Jesus, a white Jesus, which is not depicted, that was all good. But now that we understand and we woke up to the true image, now it's a problem. But we're going to go into the scriptures and show, and some commentary. Be surprised what it says, right? And it kind of sides with this guy, but it doesn't. It's because this guy doesn't have the spirituality. Exodus 28:11 and 9. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones and grave on them the names of the children of Israel. Right? The names of the children of Israel. 6 of their names on one of the stones, and the other 6 names of the rest of the other stones according to their birth. With the works of the engraver in the stone, like the engravings of a signet, shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Israel, so we can see that it's okay to make an engraven image. When he says you can't make an engraven image, there were some comments he left on my channel. Well, let's take a look at his channel. This is this guy's channel, Van Ashton. Right? Let's take a look. Does he have any graven images on his channel? Let's see. I don't know. But it might be so. Oh, look at this. He's got the image of Yahweh and Yahushua engraved, their names. That right there, my friend, is an engraven image. You are a hypocrite and a liar, right? Word with a gun on it. Come on, man. That's the worst kind of image to have. He's got word with a gun and bullets, and it says men. Oh boy, what's going on with these people, man? And he prophesies in his truck or car. He's a vehicle rolling prophet. That's what he is. So anyway, he got cut right there. Let's go to some commentary, and this will be interesting. Well, let's go to Exodus 20 real quick. Exodus 20 and verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water or underneath the earth. This is what the black only Israelites said. See, the Yahushua is in heaven above. You're not supposed to make. These guys really hate Yahushua. They don't have the argument about fighting for the so-called real image of a so-called black Jesus. They just miss the images of their white oppressor, right? It says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor to serve them, right? Remember, it says, for I, the Lord, am God, am a jealous God. You think he's going to, like if a family member had an image of a Moabite and they look like me or somebody so-called black, the family would be pissed off. For all those years, you had a picture of the image of another person, another nation at that. Not only another nation, but another person. But then when the right image is up, you accept it. This is why when you go to obituaries, they got what? The graven image of the person that they remember. This is weird. The graven image of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, all on the money, right? But let's see you rip that up, you damn hypocrites. Those are graven images. You should not have them. We say we can have those graven images of the presidents on the money. That's what Yahushua came for, to bridge us back through faith and things that we can't control. We can't control that money, so we have that money. And we will not rip it up. Now, if you want to be kind, right, and say, you know what, every time I get my paycheck, these damn graven images, send them to GMS. We'll send you the link. Anyway, thou shalt not bow thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the Lord, am jealous. Right? So we go to some commentary. This is the Jameson Fawcett Brown. And I'm going to get to you why he said what he said, right? Because it is true when you go back, right? It says, thou shalt not make any graven images, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. That is, make in order to bow under the auspices of Moses himself, figures of cherubim, brazen serpent, oxen, and many other things in the earth or beneath, were made and never commanded. The mere making was no sin. It was the making with the intent to give idolatrous worship. And this is why we read that in Exodus 20 and 4. Thou shalt not make any graven images and bow thyself down to them. Right? I mean, you would think that's simple. But let's go into the commentary. Right? We like to read and get more understanding ourselves. I learn every day doing these videos. We learn, right? It says, any graven images or any molten, let me see up here. Any molten images as if the most evident from the nature, any reason, or the precept, nor anything more common as such synecdotal expressions. We're under, let me go on down. There's a couple of these things on here. I don't want to read the whole thing. The use of worship, for otherwise they were not absolutely forbidding to making images, but only to make them for worship, as it may appear by comparing this place, right, with Leviticus, and it got some precepts, and from Leviticus 26, where the setting up of the pillar of stone. You got to remember, when you go back in the ancient time of history, right, when he come to the Israelites, what the Israelites were doing, they would worship Yahweh, but then they would take Yahweh's practices and worship and merge them into other gods. This is why he said, thou shalt have no other God before me. It wasn't that they just dropped Yahweh. They did merge Yahweh to other gods. So then they would take those altars and those type of practices, and then they would merge it to the other gods. This is exactly why you see in witchcraft, right? And all the, you'll see in these movies, voodoo, and they'll show them with the chickens and the blood and cutting the throat of the animal and doing the sacrificing. Well, you know, that goes back to the Levitical priesthood. And they took it and then they merged it with that. That's why you think the Lord's mad because we got an image of his son. Now going back then, we're going to keep reading why he said that. Where setting up the pillar of stone, absolute forbidden to make it an image. And therefore, as the former is not forbidden to be done simply and universally, as appears, but only to be done in order to worship, so also is the latter. Moreover, there were cherubims and other images in the temple. See that? And afterwards, the brazen serpent, which because they were not made to be worshipped, neither indeed nor were esteemed to have many contradictions to the law. So it became confusion, right? Because our people, again, they started merging the worship and the practices of Yahweh, right, to the practices of other gods, right? It says here, the sun, the moon, the stars, heathens worshipped, right? This is what it's talking about, that Egyptology, right, and all that madness, and their idols, the Ankh, the Christian cross, right? Those are idols of worship. It says, as of men, the beast and creeping things. And then, you know, when you really think about it, when you had certain symbolism, we got symbolisms today that we can't help. We can't help, but we have to have them, but we don't worship him. You might as well get rid of your car. If you got a Ford, that's an Illuminati symbol on the back right there. Infinity, you know what that means? Go to all the symbols and idolatry on your vehicles. Your iPhone. Everything you buy has some form of image. Like I bought a jumper box yesterday. The jumper box that, so you don't have to keep using the jumper cables. I had a few of them. But they all got some name on them or some name with an image on them. What are you going to do? You in Esau's kingdom, right? Now you can just say, hey, I don't want to put up the image of the Messiah. If that's what you don't want to do, that's fine. But there's no law against it, right? And we'll show you why. Thou shalt not make any graven images, anything graven in man's device, cut of wood, stone, anything else of engraven men to worship. I'm going to get to the point where it says the Most High. And the images, impressions of coin, which we do not find the Jews themselves sculpted to make the use of Christ's time on that account, though they vehemently oppose the setting up images of the Caesars or emperors in their temples, because they seem to be placed there as deities, right? And has showed a religious worship. Remember going back to the Maccabees, if you read Maccabees 1, how they desecrated the temples? However, any images of God was not to be made at all. Now why? It goes on, since no similitude was ever seen of him, right? Or any likeness could be conceived. Let's go to Revelations 1. This is the image that's made in our minds right here, right? 1 and 14. And the reason why we bring out this image and we show this image, not to bow down and worship that image of Jesus, Yahushua, let me say that. That is not what that is. We do not bow down and worship that image you see in the beginning of my video, right? His head and his hairs were white like wool. Why is this even being mentioned? Because it was well known. The Lord already set it up. It was well. First of all the Jews was known to be particular colors anyway. But this was a peculiar complexion and look that the father's son had. Period. Right? As white as snow, his eyes were a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass. Now, what did you think about when fine brass? Fine brass is dark, by the way. But what do you think when you see fine brass? If you're picturing someone's feet as fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace. His head and his hairs were white like wool and white as snow. So you're picturing this. You're picturing, because this is all symbolic too. His head and his hairs were white like wool. His hair wasn't actually wool. It wasn't snow, and his eyes wasn't fire. But it was a description of what he looked like, as unto fine brass, right? As if they burned in a furnace. What do you picture in your head? What would the writers picture? See, Yahushua came, so we seen him. We believe we saw him in the past. It was descriptions of him. So that is important. And that important is that's important to right the wrongs of the white image that's put up. So when you say, don't put up the image of Yahushua, you're saying, let that image of white Jesus stand. And I'm going to tell you, I woke up because of that image. That's how I came into the truth. Somebody said, see this white Jesus? He didn't look like this. He looked like this. And they read the scripture. And I said, oh boy, that does make sense. That's how I woke up. So you can't make videos, right, telling people not to put up images. You make videos telling people don't worship the images. And none of us, and everybody's looking at this, see that nobody's bowing down and worshiping to these images. As I said before, your mama got a picture of you, you need to throw it away. If there's pictures in your cell phone and you took pictures of your babies, right? So if you're an artist, forget it. You just can't write nothing now. So when you sign your name, what you think that is? That is a signature, signing of your nature, an engraving image. So don't sign your check to get that settlement lawsuit check. Tell them it's against my belief. I can't do it. Bunch of phonies, man. That's all I have on that. Shalom.